Why is it that certain groups of people don't stick together, don't hang tough like the Backstreet Boys? Or was that NSYNC? The point is, you see alliances crumble all the time, and we wonder, why is that happening? It's because of their ultimate allegiance. Permit me to do a drawing. It actually should be on the left-hand. Let's do it on the left-hand side, because that would be kind of like a metaphor. On the left-hand side of the world, you've got a bunch of different alliances. For instance, you've got feminists. These are the women who stick together because we got to break that glass ceiling. We got to make sure that the 70 cents to the dollar myth is actually broken. And so they ally together and they join little clubs and they work toward issues that they think are important. Who else do you have underneath this particular side or umbrella? You've got yourself political parties. We'll just call it on the left-hand side, Democrats. You've got yourself you've got people who are into pornography. So they've got their little subscription to Playboy, or they visit their websites, and this is a group, this is a class of people that would be underneath this particular umbrella. Think of any type of demographic, any people group that is not in Christ, and you can put them underneath this umbrella. What might be some other? You could, for instance, it could be a secular sporting organization. We're together because we all love baseball or ping pong or whatever it happens to be. We are the cigar smoking club. We are the men who love Corvettes club. And there's a lot of those. Now, it's imperative that we take a look at this, and you would think then that these people who are in their little cliques, they would stick together. Let's focus on women who are feminist, if you will, world system feminists. They're in this little clique. So you would think if this people group over here pointed out to this people group over here, hey, somebody's assaulting you, somebody's harming you. There's a man watching pornography on an airplane, and women are actually in those images. They're being abused and taken advantage of. And this people group over here points this out to this people group. Then you would think the women inside of this little club would have the other woman's back. But alas, that is not, that was kind of a pun. Alas, see what I did there? That's not what always happens. In this particular instance, Dawn Hawkins is on an airplane. Of all things, she's on her way to speak at a convention about the evils of pornography, when I'm going to presume she's a Christian, points out to everybody on the plane, all of these groups, hey, somebody's looking at pornography and somebody is abusing women by doing that. You would think that this group would say, you're right. We need to stand up against that together because we're all feminists together. But that is to fail to understand what the major alliance is, what their where their heart really is. You see, this is like a little sub-clique. The group that they're really in is the sin club. This is the in Adam club. This is the we're separated from God and we're shaking our fist at him club. And that is why when in this instance a woman on an airplane points out to a woman on an airplane that her fellow women are being abused, she does not side with her fellow women. Why? She doesn't dare say, you're right. We need to protect those women. Why? Because her allegiance isn't with women. Her allegiance is to sin.
I could not believe that a woman of all people would stand up and tell me to be quiet. She didn't tell the man to stop looking at pornography. She didn't say anything about that. She just said no one cared that he was looking at pornography, what was likely child pornography, on the airplane, right in front of all of us. She said to just let it go. Needless to say, I was speechless. For the rest of the flight, I could barely control myself. I know everyone was looking at me. I felt a million emotions. most of which were just disbelief and extreme sadness and hopelessness in the fight against pornography. I couldn't believe that a woman of all people, an older woman, wasn't on our side, didn't see anything wrong with the exploitation and degradation of women and likely children right then and there.
And we shouldn't be surprised when we understand the teams. You see, this is just the big system. These are surface categories. This is all about the one who runs this particular system. All of these people and all of these groups, ultimately their master is not the people that they serve with. We aren't just partners in arms on our issue. Instead, their full, wholehearted allegiance is to Satan himself. On the other team, if you will, you've got Christians who give their allegiance to Jesus. That's the battle that's going on here. And that is why we see a woman who should be saying, "Shame on you, sir, put that away. You're abusing women." She really doesn't have an allegiance, an alliance with women. Her alliance is actually to the devil, because people who are not in Christ are in Adam. They are not slaves to righteousness. They are slaves to the devil. Now, if I could, as a bit of an aside, if this is the way that it works, and we see groups that really should be hanging together, being nice to one another, end up being snarky or abandoning one another or firing off at one another in a circular firing squad, because a feminist who's even a Democrat, she'll shoot at the Democrat if it challenges sin, if it challenges her allegiance to Satan, if it challenges his or her ability to sin. These people, they'll just all fight. "Oh, we hate you now. No, you shouldn't be doing that." Why? Because their master is the devil and his ideology. When we see those people groups fighting, we go, "Wow, that sure is ugly," which might be instructive for us Christians, because we've got different groups, subcultures in Christianity, don't we? So for instance, you got Presbyterians right there. Shout out one. You got yourself Baptists right there. Bunch of these different subgroups. Over here, you got yourself confessional Lutherans, not the really liberal, wonky ones. Down here, you've got yourself evangelicals, non-denoms if you want to. And we have a tendency to do the very same thing that they do, fight and to shoot. Now, this is not to say that we don't debate theological distinctives. I think God providing denominations is his grace to us, a concession to a degree. We're together on the essentials, but we have differences, and God kind of lets us just go and be with those people who like to baptize a certain way so that we don't fight all the time, because we should never be fighting. If you find yourself going beyond disagreeing between Presbyterians and Methodists and Lutherans and everybody else, and you're fighting like, "Nyah," remember, we are all in Christ together, and we should not be acting the way the world does.